preparation to put in all my energy, all my effort, having done a lot on Chinua Achebe academically. This opportunity now is for me to showcase him, to present him to the world, and we said then to think about an aspect which concerns him most. Not feminist this time, not womanist ideology, but this time to showcase his leadership stand, leadership prowess. He is particularly interested in leadership in Africa, the post-independence African scenario, where we have maladministration, we have nepotism, we have lack of accountability. Chinua Achebe has come out with novels like Antis on the Savannah.
In 1982, Achebe retired from the University of Nigeria. He devoted more time to editing Okike and also became active with the left-leaning People's Redemption Party, PRP. In 1983, he became the party's deputy national vice president. He published a book called The Trouble with Nigeria to coincide with the upcoming elections. On the first page, Achebe says bluntly, and I quote, "The Nigerian problem is the unwillingness or inability of its leaders to rise to the responsibility and to the challenge of personal example, which are the hallmarks of true leadership," unquote. The elections that followed were marked by violence and charges of fraud. After the elections, he engaged in a heated argument which almost became a fistfight with Bekin Zuo, the newly elected governor of Kano State. He left the PRP and afterwards kept his distance from political parties, expressing his sadness at the dishonesty and weakness of the people involved. He spent most of the 1980s delivering speeches, attending conferences, and working on his 6th novel. He also continued winning awards and collecting honorary degrees. In 1986, he was elected President General of the Ogidi Town Union. In the same year, he stepped down as editor of Okike and appointed Professor Osie Enekwe editor-in-chief of Okike magazine. On March 22, 1990, Achebe was riding in a car to Lagos when an axle suddenly collapsed and the car flipped. His son Ikechukwu and the driver suffered minor injuries, but the weight of the vehicle fell on Achebe and his spine was severely damaged. He was flown to the Paddocks Hospital in Buckinghamshire, England, and treated for his injuries. In July, doctors announced that although he was recuperating well, he was paralyzed from the waist down and would require the use of a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Soon afterwards, Achebe became the Charles P. Stevenson Professor of Languages and Literature at Bard College in New York. He has held the position for over 15 years. Today, Achebe is David and Mariana Fisher University Professor and Professor of Africana Studies in the Department of Africana Studies, Brown University, Providence, United States of America.
I like literature. I did well in literature in school, and I read so many of his books. He's a great man. He's a great man, and nobody can take that away from him. You know, but everybody has a role he has to come to play. He has played his role. I thank God that he's still there today to guide us. But we are no longer going to be looking at Chinua Achebe to take Igbos to the next level. We are looking at people like us now, who will copy from this people, modify what they did, modify what the Sikh did, modify what the Ojukwu did, and then do what? And then move to the next level, because there is always a next level.
Achebe is the main pillar in this tradition. Powerful pillar in this whole tradition. Since that PhD, I have done other things. I co-authored a book entitled 50 Years of the Nigerian Novel, which was published in 2001.
Wow.
I co-authored it with Dr. Anoho. And that book, again, there's no way you can discuss Nigerian literature without you know, coming back again and again, really, not to Achebe. There's no way you can do that. So, and after that, or as well as that, I've done many journal articles on his works. I believe I've done something, at least one paper on each of his novels. I believe so.
Okay, what's the impact of this work upon the literary world at the moment?
Now, outside Nigeria, really, there are two major names that are known about Nigerian literature: Achebe and Soyinka. There are others, but I understand that Achebe's Things Fall Apart is the most translated of African works, and that this work, this Things Fall Apart, has outsold all of African literature series, all together. That single work has outsold all of them. It is a testimony to the power of this work and the extent to which it is known worldwide and read and discussed. Because if you search Achebe on the internet, the number of links is endless.
Nobody is saying Achebe is the best writer on the planet Earth. No, is he the best writer Africa has ever produced? No. But Achebe's appearance early in African literature and the fact that he did his work well cannot be underestimated. Even if there were people who were more saintly than Peter, we don't have their names in the Bible because Peter appeared when Jesus was there. You get my point? So Achebe's appearing early and he's doing his work well got him a very important place in the literary Bible of the universe. We can't understate that at all. So anytime we look at even plays, Achebe didn't write plays himself, but anytime we read plays with lots and lots of oral law, oral flavor, we just remember Achebe.
The community, the faculty of us saw Achebe as an eagle. And there was a workshop with the title The Eagle on Iroko.
1990.
Yes, I've forgotten the exact year. 1990s, yes. Soon after that, many papers were published. And women, these feminist scholars, I read in one of their papers challenging the organizers of that conference for calling Achebe the eagle on the rock. Achebe was against women in all his writings. That's the way they saw her. They saw him, please. The way they saw him was that he was against women. He never gave any prestigious position to any woman. The women in Achebe's character, according to that, were kind of, if they were not serving as slaves, they were serving as just servants or housemaids, even as housewives. Achebe played down on them. That was it. That is another thing. But one thing that happened One thing I can tell you about Achebe's work is that it is very complex. It touches on all aspects of Igbo life. In fact, not only Igbo life. Universal activities. How people behave. He represented all kinds of men in his works. He represented slaves, he represented the nobles, he represented the middle class, he represented the academics, he represented civil servants. These are the things. But it depends on what you are and the way you see him. Achebe, one man said Achebe is too much.
I will start with Things Fall Apart.
Yes.
I can't tell how many times I've read that work. Okay. What I like about that work was the picture it gives us of different images of masculinities in Africa, especially in Igbo land. Okonkwo has a totally different masculine identity from the father, Onoka. And these two were in conflict for much of their lives. You know, in gender studies, especially masculinity studies, we look at what we regard as the new men. These are more or less feminized men. Men that are not the macho men, or the traditional men, the very strong and powerful and domineering individuals. They are soft. They display a lot of feminine tendencies or traits. That's where Onoka fell. On the other hand is Okonkwo, the strong man, very determined. He always knew where he was going to and how to get there. That's another man. Okonkwo could not understand his father, Onoka. He never did. And that was why he was ashamed of having such a man. But I can relate with Onoka because Onoka tells me that all men are not caught in the Okonkwo's profile. So, those men that are not as macho as Okonkwo, they are still men. When we enter into issues about men, the way they present themselves, what they are, trying to understand masculinities, trying to understand men, Onoka presents a very perfect image for us to deconstruct issues about men and their masculinities. So this is a very work I found very, very useful in my own work as a gender scholar and as a historian.
Achebe's works include his novels Things Fall Apart 1958, No Longer at Ease 1960, Arrow of God 1964, A Man of the People 1966, Antheils of the Savannah 1987. His short stories include Marriage is a Private Affair 1952, Dead Man's Path 1953, The Sacrificial Egg and Other Stories 1953, Civil Peace 1971, Girls at War and Other Stories including Vengeful Creditor 1973, African Short Stories, editor with C.L. Innes 1985, Heinemann Book of Contemporary African Short Stories, editor with C.L. Innes 1992, and then The Volta. His poetry includes Beware, Soul Brother and Other Poems 1971, published in the U.S. as Christmas at Biafra and Other Poems 1973. Don't Let Him Die, an anthology of memorial poems from Christopher Okibo, editor with Dubaim Okafor, 1978. Another Africa, 1998. Collected Poems, Carcanet Press, 2005. Refugee Mother and Child, and then The Vultures. His essays, criticism, non-fiction, and political commentary. There Was a Country, A Personal History of Biafra, 2012, forthcoming. The Novelist as Teacher, 1965, also in Hopes and Impediments. An Image of Africa, Racism in Conrad's Heart of Darkness, 1975, also in Hopes and Impediments. Morning Yet on Creation Day, 1975. The Trouble with Nigeria, 1984, Hopes and Impediments, 1988. Home and Exile, 2000. Education of a British Protected Child, 6th October 2009. The Igbo and Their Perception of God, Human Beings and Creation, 2010, forthcoming. His children's books include Chike and the River, 1966, How the Leopard Got His Claws with John Iraganachi, 1972, The Flute, 1975, and The Drum, 1978. Achebe is a recipient of over 30 honorary degrees from universities in England, Scotland, Canada, South Africa, Nigeria, and the United States, including Dartmouth College, Harvard, and Brown University. He has been awarded the Commonwealth Poetry Prize and Honorary Fellowship of the American Academy of Arts and Letters, 1982, a foreign honorary member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, 2002, the Nigerian National Order of Merit, Nigeria's highest honor for academic work, the Peace Prize of the German Book Trade, the Man Booker International Prize 2007, and the 2010 Dorothy and Lillian Gish Prize are two of the most recent accolades Achebe has received. He has twice refused the Nigerian Honor Commander of the Federal Republic in 2004 and 2011, stating, and I quote, "I have watched particularly the chaos in my own state of Anambra, where a small clique of renegades, openly boasting its connection in high places, seems determined to turn my homeland into a bankrupt and lawless fiefdom. I am appalled by the brazenness of this clique and the silence, if not connivance, of the presidency." Achebe has been called the father of modern African writing, and many books and essays have been written about his work over the past 50 years. In 1992, he became the first living author to be represented in the Everyman's Library, collection published by Alfred A. Knopf. His 60th birthday was celebrated at the University of Nigeria by an international who's who in African literature. One observer noted nothing like it had ever happened before in African literature anywhere on the continent. Many writers of succeeding generations view his work as having paved the way for their efforts.